All right, for today's lesson, you'll need this paper, Racial Tables and Graphs. You will need a glue stick, your math notebook, as well as a pair of scissors. Let's get started. What you're going to want to do is cut along this line, down to the bottom, cut along that line. Once you have it cut out, then you're going to then glue it into your math notebook. Once you have it glued in your math notebook, we will begin. Please take a moment to do that. If you need to pause this video, you may do so, and we will jump right into getting started on our first note page in math. As indicated, if you needed to pause the video, that was fine. We're going to get started. We have the essential question up here where it reads, how can you represent real-world numbers involving ratios with tables and graphs? So we're looking at racial tables and graphs. We're going to start over here in this corner. It says racial tables help you find, and the word is equivalent. Go ahead and write equivalent down. Equivalent, which really truly means equal, and ratios in an organized way. The two common math operations that we are using will be multiplication and division for this page. Let's look at this part where it reads, at Pete's Pet Store, for every 2 fish with stripes, they have 1 fish with spots. Use the fish to help you fill in the table. Sometimes I like to be a visual learner, and so this is what I'm going to do in this case. I'm going to box in 2 striped fish and 1 spotted fish. And again, I'm going to box in 2 striped fish, 1 spotted fish, and I see over here 2 striped fish and 1 spotted, and I also see here 2 striped and 1 spotted. So, when I have 1 spot, I have 2 stripes. When I count 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes, I now have 2 spotted fish. When I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stripes, I have 1, 2, 3 spots. What do you think the next one might be? Any guesses? Well, if you said, and you went along with this, and you said 8 and 4, you are correct. Down here, we need to think about what patterns do you notice in the table? Something that we notice is that we can count by 2's for stripes. 2, 4, 6, 8. And you know what would be next? 10. And this would have 5. We also noted that we could put down that it is a multiply by 2 in the stripes column. Please make sure that you have this down on your paper, and we'll begin to the next part. We're going to look at Pete's Pet Store, for every fish, they fill the aquarium with 18 gallons of water. Label the water next to the aquarium to help you fill in the table. So here's 18, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 fish. So if we go back and we only have 2 fish, what do you think it might be to only have 2 fish here? Well, we ask ourselves, how did we go from 4 to 2? Remember, this is about scaling, and that word came up in our book. And we know that scaling backwards, we're going to divide. So we ask ourselves, how do we get from 4 to 2? Well, we divide by 2. So let's think about half. So half of 4 is 2, and half of 18 is 9. So I'm going to put the 9 here, as well as here on my chart and in my table. Then I move up the line when I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fish. What is the gallons? Well, how did I go from 2 to 4? This way I'm moving forward, so I'm going to multiply. 2 times 3 I know is 6, so 9 times 3 is 27. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fish. And I'm going to also scale forward, which means multiply, and I ask myself, how do I go from 2 to 8? Multiply by 4. So we say 9 times 4 is 36. You should now have the top section of this notes filled in. I readjusted my camera so we are moving to the bottom part of our notes. And same thing applies here. Now, when there's 3 fish, blue fish, there are 7 goldfish. Now, I'm going to look at how do I go from 3 to 6. And remember, what 2 operations am I using? Multiplication and division. So, to go from 3 to 6, I'm going to multiply by 2. So whatever I do on this side, I must do to that side. 7 times 2 is 14. Now, when I look at 14, how do I get to 49? That might not be the easiest way to go, so I like to think of it this way. How do I go from 7 down to 49? I know that's times 7. So whatever I do on this side, I'm going to do the same on this side. 7 times 7 is 49. 3 times 7, 21. Now you might be thinking, how do I go from 3 to 29? I know that's times by 9. 7 times 9, 63. Please make sure that this has been filled in your notes. I'm going to start down here, and same thing again. I scale forward, and I say, how did I go from 1 to 5? I know this was times by 5. Anything that we do in operations of math, we can always turn it around and do the opposite. So the opposite of multiplication is to divide. So to get backwards, we're going to divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now this one you might easily see, and you might say, hey, I know how I go from 3 to 30, and that's jumping this way and timesing it by 10. So 1 times 10 is 10. Anytime we're moving forward, we're going to multiply. 3 times, we'll start down here. 1 times what will give me 12? Well, 1 times 12. Same thing happens on the top. 3 times 12, that is 36. Now this one I wish that they would have filled in a little bit more, so I'm going to start us off with 3, 14, and 30. Now hopefully you can start to see some numbers here start to evolve, and you might say, you probably can see this one easily because you know that 3 to get to 30 is times by 10. So, but we don't know what this number is, but we definitely know we're going to times it by 10. Let's start backwards here. We're going to scale backwards, we're going to divide. So we're going to divide some number here to go backwards here. 18 to get to 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So that tells me I'm going to divide this by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now I can fill in this part. 2 times 10 is 20. Now, I don't know what this number is, but I know how I got here. Because I know 2 times 7 is 14. So 3 times 7 is 21. One last part here. If I buy 2 fish, it's going to cost me, and this was poorly written here, it's $2.50. Now, to go backwards, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So half of $2.50 is $1.25. And you might think, how did I go from 1 to 6? Multiply it by 6. So you could take this amount, $1.25, and multiply it by 6. Take a moment to go ahead and pause this video and answer it for me, please. Hopefully you took a moment to pause the video and you came up with the answer of $7.50. Now, we can start to see some things. First of all, I like to work in quarters because I know quarters is pretty easy to follow along. If I have $2.50 or 25 cents, how many quarters will it take to get me to $1? If you said 4, you are correct. So to go from $2.50 to 10, I'm going to times it by 4. So whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. 2 times 4 is 8. So $8, or excuse me, 8 fish will cost you $10. That is our notes for today. You will be receiving this, and I look forward to seeing your pages when they are complete. Please take a photo for me and send them in.